So as we all know that research proposal is very, very important. Research is very important nowadays. It was important all the time, but now special emphasis we are giving on research, and even National Education Policy 2020 is talking about NRF, National Research Foundation, and it is expected not only from universities but also from colleges, even from schools, even from teacher education institutions, that research should be carried out. And there are certain funding agencies we all know. UGC for last some time is not giving projects. Otherwise, UGC was funding agency, ICSSR, CSIR, DST, INSA, even NCERT for educational research. So there are so many funding agencies, and funds are not a problem at all. Funds is not a problem at all. But the thing is that we should be very clear about our research objectives, what type of research we have to carry out, and the plan must be meticulous. The proposal should be very adequate. Only then there is consideration. So preparing of a research proposal is very, very important. So research proposal preparation of a research proposal is very important, and there are certain evaluation assessment parameters also to evaluate, to find out that whether the research proposal is good one or not good. Okay, so whenever we thought about a research topic, it is always in our mind that how to begin, how to start, and what do I want to study and why. What do I want to study? Because that is the problem actually. So we have to identify the problem first, and this problem we come across after thinking, rethinking, even critical thinking. Many times we come across the same type of situation, and we just think that what type of solution this problem may have, or this is really a problem which can be solved. So what do I want to study? This is first. And why I should do it? Is it meaningful? Will there be useful outcome? Will the outcome be useful for the policymakers? Will outcome will be useful for certain stakeholders? So those things we have to think. So how to begin is very, very important, because well begin is half done. If our beginning is not proper, if our formulation is not proper, meticulous, then though we can invest a hard labor, a hard work, but the outcome will not be very, very useful. So the clarity must be there right from the beginning. So what do I want to study? That should be very clear to one, and what that study will lead to, why one should study. So this type of understanding must be there. Then how it is significant within the subject area, relevancy. I would like to give certain examples also, right? For example, I am a student of physics as well as education, both. So I will give both types of examples, right? So for example, in physics there is an area, metallic glasses. Metallic glasses, this area came in existence in 1960s. Later on, 93, some Chinese scientists, they could produce metallic glass in abundance, in bulk. So the new area which came in existence is bulk metallic glass, bulk metallic glasses. And one of the properties of materials is superconductivity, right? So superconductivity means transmission loss is not there, and uh, electricity consumption will be reduced because there is no dissipation loss, there is no transmission loss. So how superconductivity can be investigated in bulk metallic glasses? Can we find superconductivity in bulk metallic glasses? Because superconductivity is one very important property, while bulk metallic glass have another property. So this is one of the problems, right? Area of metallic glass came in 1960s, bulk metallic glass came in 1993. Then a research problem can be that what is superconducting properties in bulk metallic glasses, how superconductivity can be explored in bulk metallic glasses, and what will be used. This is one study which in physics. While in education, if I say, then these days we say that digital era is here. So we have to integrate technology with our education teaching learning system to take its leverage, to take its benefit. So can we so this ICT integration even we can have in a better way in our teacher education programs also. For example, 4-year integrated B.Ed, which is a new program, or 2-year B.Ed, which is old one. So we can study that how ICT knowledge and practice are being followed in teacher education institutes or in TEPs, teacher education programs. So this type of study, there is a background. So we have to see that what type of background is there, what do I want to study, and why means what will be its result, how its result is going to uh, affect, whether the result, I don't know what will be the result may be in negative side, maybe in positive side, but it will affect definitely. If use of ICT is established that it is not increasing the achievement level, then why we should go for smart classrooms? But if it is enhancing, it is contributing in enhancement of learning outcomes, achievement, then definitely we should go for ICT in integrated classroom. So what do I want to study and why this is important? Then uh, within the subject area, relevance is to be seen. For example, in metal, when I take bulk metallic glasses, then I have to see physics. What is relevance in physics? I have to see what is its relevance in metallurgy, in chemistry. When I see superconductivity, then I see its relevance in electrical engineering, even in electronics, because superconductivity is used. Superconducting materials are used to make memory devices, retentive devices. So in digital technology, this is also useful. So what is relevant? Why I should study? Unless some relevant outcome I expect, I should not study. Similarly, when I'm doing ICT integration in education in my classrooms, then again the communication part, we are saying that this is 21st century skill. There are so many 21st century skills, but communication is one most important skill we want. So how information can be transmitted, can be communicated through technology. So this is integration of technology in our education, in supplying information, making communication better. So so the second question is how it is significant within the subject area, what is its relevance. Then third is what problems will it solve or answers it will explore. So what is the purpose of the research, right? What type of problems I will be able to solve or will get answer, and that's why I will explore in this research. How does it build upon research already conducted on my topic? Because there are so many researches already conducted. If I'm replicating, I'm duplicating them, then there is no use. So I need to know that what type of theories are existing, what are the short falls of those theories, why those theories are not useful, why I should go for a new theory, right? And how can construct I can construct a theory. So accordingly, we say that researches are of various types. We say that researches are basic or fundamental. Researches are applied researches. In social sciences or in education, we say external researches are also there. In science, we say that fundamental research or basic research. I think you all know that there is an institute in India that is called TIFR, Tata Institute of Fundamental Research. They are just researching things just to add new knowledge. New knowledge is added, means that knowledge is not existing. Some new knowledge is researched out and is added in new knowledge. That is basic research or fundamental research. For example, if I say that Dalton's theory was that atom is the tiniest particle of the substance which cannot be further divided, right? And atom is electrically neutral. I think I'm audible. I'm audible.
Yes, sir.
Yes,
Yes.
sir. Yes, sir.
So atom is the tiniest particle of the substance which cannot further be divided. If I would have stick to that, then I would not have gone further. But Benjamin Franklin did one experiment that he rubbed uh, comb to the hairs, and then paper pieces were picked up by that comb. Or when balloon is rubbed to the hairs, and then balloon is uh, kept on wall, it sticks to the wall. That we also do in our childhood. So it means that now charge is there. That's why there is attraction. That's why balloon is sticking to the wall, or the comb is sticking to the paper pieces. But atom was electrically neutral, which was the smallest particle. So no more smallest particle was being concepted by Dalton. But now we have the particle which has charge, and it is smaller than atom. So it means atom can further be divided. Atom can further be divided. So now I have to develop a atomic theory. Then uh, till Dalton, the atom was the smallest part. But now after Dalton, Benjamin Franklin, Thomson, Bohr, so many scientists, Sommerfeld, They established, I'll not go in detail because it will take a long time. They established that atom has two parts. Rutherford's experiment contributed much, that positively charged particles are concentrated at the center of the atom, that is called nucleus. So atom has two major parts: nucleus having neutrons and protons, and electrons revolving around nucleus in certain quantized orbits, right? So now the new theory came, that nuclear physics. So nuclear physics came after Dalton's theory. So now there is new theory. And uh, after that, even it was observed that neutron is also not a fundamental particle, proton is also not a fundamental particle. Proton is made up of quarks, and those are three: up, up, down. You can see, if you want to see search on even mobile. So proton's structure is UUD, while neutron's structure is UDD. And even quarks are made up of prions, and pions are made up of colors. So many things are going on. So new theory can be investigated, can be confirmed, can be concepted, and can be investigated. Right? Similarly, in education, we see, so many theories are there for learning styles, psychological theories. When we say Bloom's taxonomy, when we say Skinner's, when we say Pavlov's conditioning theory, so so many new theories are there, and you will find there contradictory theories also. Some theories established, now new theory will contradict that theory. That is research actually. So how does it build upon research already conducted in my topic? Whatever topic I am taking of my interest, whatever has happened, what are the theories existing, and why I should a new theory, what is the lacunae in the existing theory, what is the pitfalls, which issues are not being addressed by the present current theory, so I can uh, conceptualize a new theory. For example, even in superconductivity, what is the reason that few materials are superconductors? So in 1956, Nobel Prize was given on that theory, that is BCS theory, Bardeen-Cooper-Shaffer theory. But later on, it was found that when transition temperature became high, high TC superconductivity, which was invented in 1988, that BCS theory failed. Right? Similarly, when we talk about Newton's theory, Einstein's theory. So when we say that Einstein's special theory of relativity, in Einstein's special theory of relativity, gravitation is not considered. But when gravitation is considered, the same Einstein's theory of relativity becomes general theory of relativity. So theory which is existing in my topic, in topic of my interest, is complete, or even there are certain gaps which that theory is not addressing, then what type of theory I should formulate? So how does it build upon research already conducted on my topic? That is important. That's why we go for review of literature. That what type of outcomes are there, and where are the gaps? So what exactly should I plan to do, and can I get it done in the time available? So since we should be very pinpointed in research, so what exactly I should do, accordingly I should plan, that I should know beforehand. And time availability, resources availability, even funds availability is to be looked into. Because suppose a research is very costly and it is not affordable for me, I will not be able to continue it. I have to leave it in between. Right? Similarly, time, I cannot invest infinite time. I have result after 2 years, 3 years. That's why in the projects we have time limit also. Certain major projects, UGC or funding agencies are giving in for 3 years. Some projects are being awarded for 2 years, and some for 1 year even. Some even for 6 months, because they give for one financial year, but that project will be awarded in the month of August, and they will like to submit. They will expect the submission of the final settlement of bills by February or March. So time availability is asked to mean, reasonability is to be looked after, feasibility is to be looked after. Feasibility means whether it is possible or not, right? So research proposal. So what is a research proposal? It is a structured description of research plan, and it details about the study's purpose. Why it is important means we have to give a justification. Unless justification is there, significance is not highlighted, and if significance is not highlighted, no funding agency is going to give us fund. And how the research will be conducted means methodology, means the way of conducting research. So it outlines the study's objectives. So first and foremost important thing is the study's objectives, significance, clear explanation of the research procedures and the methodology that will be used to achieve the study's goals. So this is not important only for getting fund, but this is important for a researcher to do research meticulously also. Otherwise, the researcher will be confused, haphazardous, and will not be able to clear cut do the work. So planning must be there. So what is the study about? What is its background? Then why is this study important? Justification and relevance. We have to give justification. What are researcher going to do, going to achieve? Means what are the aims and objectives? Aims means a broader, in broader sense. Objectives means pinpointed. Who will you include in that? Matlab, to whom we are going to include? So what will be the population and what will be the samples? Who will be the respondents? For social science, I talk when I'm talking in science, I can say experiments, equipments. That's where are you going to do that. Means what are the limitations, what is the scope, what are the delimitations. Limitations means uh, I cannot come over, and delimitations means I am limiting myself. So what techniques of data collection will be used, methodology, especially this proposal what I'm deliberating here is about social sciences. So what techniques of data collection will be used, what type of data required or expected, how will that data be analyzed. These are the questions. These questions I have to address in constructing a research proposal. What will be the time schedule of the oral study and how much expenditure is expected, right? So why a research proposal is needed? It helps in ordering thoughts, in giving a sequence, in materializing or in thinking or in formulating a line of action. Then present preparatory material in a logical way. Mean, since unless we are logical, again the outcome will be haphazard. So we have to have a logical planning, and a preparatory material should be presented in a logical way. Then a blueprint type of thing we should develop for the research process. So research proposal serves this purpose, and then it highlights the way in which each section interrelates with others. That lucidly, what is the flow chart of action? Then signifies the motive of the study through theoretical base and conceptual framework. There are some typographical errors. Then establishes research objectives and methodology, demonstrates feasibility and relevance of the study, and assists in defining the boundaries of the study and the concepts of to be included, means limitations and delimitations. For example, studying the impact of digital tools on high school students' learning outcomes. So it is clear that what are the elements of a research proposal? Title should be very, very clear, precise, and should be self-explanatory. Suppose if I'm doing any research for 12th class, then even geographical locations as far as possible, school stage, these should be reflected in title, along with variables. Then introduction, right? So introduction means that what type of uh, introduction means background of this research proposal. Then its need and justification, that is very, very important. We have to highlight that what is the need of this research to carry out, and what is its justification, and what already has happened in this field in area for that literature review. So literature review is very, very important. Every step is important, because literature review again gives us insight that what has already happened and where are the gaps, what more I can do, or what is lacking. And in literature review, the cross references should also be there. Whenever we are going for literature review, the basic literature we should also have, and the recent most literature we should also have. Suppose I'm doing for a taking a theory, right? Skinner's theory. Then what is this Skinner's theory when he gave, right? Or in superconductivity, what BC has given, and what theory, which theory justifies the present materials. So latest theory is suppose RVB, resonant valence band theory, in superconductivity, right? So even in conditioning, even in teaching learning, right, we have kept aside behaviorist approach, objectivist approach, then we have come to constructivist approach. Even in constructivist approach, radical approach, social approach, So which approach was there, what were the lacking? So literature, you mean, I have to take basic paper, one paper. For example, I am doing some model, Bohr's model, then I should know the Bohr's paper. If I'm doing anything on Newton's physics, then Newton published his paper in Principia long back, 3 4 centuries back. If I'm able to recover that paper, that will be base paper for me. Then recent developments in that. So literature, you many a times it is spoken that there should be latest papers, latest documents. Definitely there should be latest documents, but base document is also very important. So if we have a mix of base document as well as latest developments, then that will be better, right? For example, if I'm talking about NEP, then even NEP 2020 I can give more focus, but I should know what was in NEP 1968 and what was in NEP 1986, right? So after review of literature, definitely I would like to, or I will be able to find gaps, right? What has already been done and what new is being expected. So accordingly, statement of problem can be defined. Statement should be very clear, because that will give insight to any reader that on what problem the work is being done. So statement of problem, we have to then theoretical and conceptual framework, means what are the theories existing, what is theoretical historical development, and what is the concept. Conceptual framework means how this concept is being reached. So theoretical and conceptual framework should be there. And then after doing this, actually there is in our mind that what we have to do. So we have to translate those things in terms of research questions or objectives. And especially when we talk about social science researches, then on the basis of data I'm going to collect or researcher is going to collect, we classify researches into two categories: qualitative and quantitative. So whenever quantitative researches are there, we can give objectives also in research questions, but research questions are preferred in qualitative research, and objectives are preferred in quantitative research, though they can be mixed way also. But what we prefer, objectives in quantitative uh, research and research questions in qualitative research. Research questions are also again translated in objectives in quantitative research. So research questions and research objectives should be clear. And whenever I am doing statistical, uh, I can say statistical objectives, then objectives should be testable also, measurable also. So then after research questions and objectives, hypothesis is hypotheses are formulated, right? So here many times we means especially beginners, there is a problem that what we mean by hypo. I'm not going to describe what is written in books, but my question is always that when hypothesis converts into a thesis, we start with hypothesis and we submit a thesis. So when hypothesis is tested and some conclusive result is there, some conclusive thought is there, that is thesis. So hypothesis converts into thesis. Hypothesis means it is not thesis, it is lower than a thesis. It is to be established, to be verified. So hypothesis formulation must be there. Now hypothesis can be null hypothesis, can be alternative hypothesis. So I'm not going into detail. Then methodology, the method should be again clear, because methodology means what will be our sample design, what will be population, how I will collect data, what will be tools, techniques, how I will process, everything will come in methodology. So we can say that methodology is the crux of the research. Then scope and delimitations, because whatever I'm doing, it is bound with certain scopes, bound certain limitations. So I have to delimit everything I cannot do. Right? Then expected implications. Unless there are implications, research has no meaning. We say nowadays that research should be quality research. Quality means it's there should be high citations of your research outcome. It should have high indices, I index, H index. Many indices are there, so people should refer your paper, and that will be used only when expected implications are there. Some certain implications, certain outcomes are there which are going to affect something, that is expected implications. And budget, if applicable, if we are designing a proposal, we should know that what much we have to invest in carrying out this research. Especially budget is important part. Why? Because without money, some budget, sometimes it is observed that proposals or research projects are discontinued because of lack of money. So we should keep in mind that budget budget should also be inbuilt part, integrated part of research proposal, and we should be able to complete the intended research within the budget. Then timeline, that is again important. Even some funding agencies, they give timelines. Even we also have uh, time constraints. So timeline is important. Bibliography is important because this study should be disseminated, so others should know that what type of sources have been used in establishing research outcomes. And certain appendices are also there, which are not kept in the main text, are kept at the end of the thesis. So now what we should keep in mind when a title is written. So title should include the research, include the title of research proposal. Means in title, the research proposal exactly should be translated. Then name and affiliation also. For example, experiential learning in subject science stage at secondary stage, where in government schools of which geographical area, Odisha. So experiential learning in science at secondary stage in government schools of Odisha, study of perceptions and practices. So this is a title. So this title is self-explanatory. Subject, stage, the nature of schools, government schools, private schools, public schools, and then geographical area, Odisha. So this is the title, and then name and affiliation of researcher and supervisor. Then specific, direct, concise, meaningful, and easily. This title should be specific, direct, concise, meaningful, and easily understandable. And here has been written that name and affiliation of research supervisor. But when a teacher is conducting research, no need of writing research supervisor. The researcher has to give his name. So must accurately represent the objective and indicate the purpose of the study. So here it is very clear that I have to study perceptions and practices, right? So this type of title is to be emphasized upon. Then introduction. So what I should cover in introduction? Basic discussion about the topic using background information. Even sometimes terms which I'm using in that topic. For example, what is experiential learning? Right? What is happening in science in Odisha state? So certain introduction I have to give. For example, when I'm conducting research, superconductivity in bulk metallic glasses, then what is superconductivity? What are bulk metallic glasses? How superconductivity can be interesting in bulk metallic glasses? So this type of introduction I should give as a preamble of the research proposal, and it should be elaborative, justifiable in some way, and it should justify the choice of the topic. And it should contextualize the proposal. The proposal should be contextualized, should highlight the importance. So importance sets the stage of the entire proposal, introducing the research problem and its significance. So what introduction should cover, these things should be core part of introduction. Then need and justification. So again, need and justification, I am not going to invest my time and money in irrelevant study. So I have to establish that what is relevance and importance of the study. Then there should be a deeper discussion of the research problem, because I want that outcome should inform, should be responsive for research, for policymakers. So there's a deeper discussion is required. Links to existing theories or frameworks. What existing theories are there? What frameworks are there? And because the research is a continuous process, abruptly we cannot come to any at any end. So what is the background? I'm linking these. For example, as I told you about Dalton's theory about quarks, pions, etc., etc. There are so many examples, right? So emphasize the uniqueness of this study. So this study should be uniqueness. It should not be traditional. What others are doing, if I'm repeating that, I'm doing the same thing, then there is no use. Then discuss the broader implications of the study, highlighting how it addresses a pressing issue or contributes to the field of education. So broader implications should also be discussed, that how this problem will be useful or will be able to contribute in the field of education. So how it will be addressing certain issues, that should be given in need and justification. Then importance justifies the need for research by highlighting its potential contributions. For example, uh, if I'm talking about superconductivity in metallic glasses, then metallic glasses are the materials which have very different properties from the metals and the glasses. So metallic glasses are new type of materials. If I have a wire of metallic glass similar to a steel wire, then I can hang 100 times more weight to that metallic glass wire, and that wire will not break. So that is its strength. Its mechanical strength is very, very high. And if I find superconductivity in that, then if I can construct a wire of metallic glass having superconductivity, then I can draw electrical lines, transmission lines, which will go generations together without electricity loss. So that's why the broader implications of this study must be highlighted, should be addressed, and importance should again be highlighted. This importance should justify the need for the research, that what will be the potential contribution of this research. So literature review gives insight into the key concepts, methodologies, because whenever I'll be reviewing, researcher will be reviewing literature. The review will be done in different dimensions, for different dimensions, keeping in mind what are the key concepts, what the methodology is being used by the researcher, what are the findings. So previous researches are very important to give us clues. So key concepts, what key concepts are concerned, are dealt in the researches by previous researchers, what type of methodologies are used, and what are the findings. Then compare the strengths and weaknesses of different approaches of methodologies and perspectives discussed. So there are many theories. So one researcher is using one theory in solving one problem. The other researcher is using other theory in solving the same problem. Then we can compare those different approaches can find out their pros, cons, merits, demerits, strengths, and weaknesses, not only of methodologies but of the perspectives discussed also. And in doing this, there we can find certain gaps. So we can identify critical gaps, not only gaps, critical gaps, which are to be addressed. So then indicate the current status and trends in the research area. So this literature review will help us in indicating the current status and trends in the research area. So we can say that five C's are important. The first C is cite. Focus on literature directly relevant to your research problem, because nowadays we have vast literature. So we have to concentrate, focus on the literature directly relevant to our keywords. Whenever we search on internet, browse on net, then we put certain key words. For example, if I want to search for metallic glass, I will just type metallic glass and will see those papers. If suppose I want to see about learning styles, then I will just put learning styles and will find out. If I want to see uh, new pedagogy, latest pedagogical techniques, or ICT integration in classrooms, then I'll give that. So that uh, research problem, so literature, I will find out, I will survey, I will make a survey on literature, giving the direct focus to my research problem. Then even after giving broader area, I can refine it. Firstly, I'm giving metallic glass, then I will see that electrical property in metallic glass, then I will see that particular theory, edge electrical resistivity, edge electrical property in metallic glass. So I can find my search in literature review. So I can find only few relevant papers which are very close to my research problem, or which are very useful to my research problem. So I will take those research problems, then compare. So I will analyze and evaluate arguments of different uh, researchers, different approaches, different theories, different methods in findings. So a contrasting situation will be there. So as third C, I will highlight differences in perspectives, methodologies, and controversies. And actually, when a research is conducted, then controversies are always, I can say, maybe important. As far as uh, the scientific research is concerned. So critique critically I have to see. So critique is fourth C is critique. I have to assess the reliability, validity, and persuasiveness uh, of the persuasiveness of arguments and approaches. And fifth is connect. So through connect, I will relate the literature to research objectives and address gaps. So these five C's are important, and literature review will result in importance. Justify the research, because through finding gaps, I will be able to justify the research. This will save the research questions also, because what type of gaps I have, what I have to do, that will save my research questions, hypotheses, and tools. And these gaps will give me conducting research for meaningful contribution. So literature review, I think we can understand that what is its importance. That will give the status, the present status of the problem and allied areas, and where the gaps are existing, and how I have to address those gaps, what type of objectives I have to undertake, what type of methodology, which type of methodology I have to undertake. Everything I can have from here. Then statement of the problem. So now I have to define the problem, and for that I have to make statement of the problem. So simple narration of the problem must be there. Identify the core problem or knowledge gap the research will focus on. Researcher has to identify the core problem or knowledge gap. The research is to be focused on that, and it is to be explained that how solving this problem, knowledge or society will get benefit. There will be a contribution to the knowledge and society. How research fills gaps, that is to be clarified, or it needs to be extended existing understanding. So importance, layout a set of research questions, the theoretical and conceptual framework. Right? After statement of problem, we want theoretical and conceptual framework. So in theoretical framework, I mean the outlines, the theoretical underpinnings of the study, drawing on relevant theories and concepts. It should highlight importance. So importance, under importance, it provides a conceptual lens through which to interpret the research findings and contributes to theoretical development. So lens means a way of perception, a way of seeing the things. And in conceptual framework, we find that specific framework should be there, tailored to the research questions, defining key concepts and variables. And importance clarifies the research objective and guides the data collection and analysis process. So research questions or hypothesis objectives. These research questions provide the basis. Research questions or hypotheses or objectives, these provide the basis for investigation and ensures the proper direction in which the study should proceed. Research questions, specific issues or inquiries the research aims to address. Hypothesis, tentative, educated guesses made about population of interest, explaining potential relationship between variables and need to be tested. So research questions should be very clear, because these are the specific issues which are to be inquired to address the research gaps, and hypotheses are to be formulated, because researcher is going to test these hypotheses. Maybe that hypothesis will be accepted or rejected at one level of significance or at the other level of significance. Hypothesis will convert into thesis later on, when it will be established after verification. And whenever we are formulating hypothesis, and suppose we have to use statistical analysis also, then we should also keep in mind that what type of statistics is going to be used. But many times, what type of statistics will use will depend on the data also. Suppose uh, after getting these research questions and hypotheses, to collect data, we construct some tool. I think it will come in the next slide also. So that tool will give us data. Then many a times it is observed that without knowing that whether the received data, the collected data, gathered data is normally distributed or not. normal distribution parametric statistics researchers apply. Actually, when we talk about social sciences, when data is collected, even the measuring scales are important, right? We all know that there are four measuring scales: nominal, ordinal, ratio, and interval. And especially in social sciences, ratio scale is not there because of absolutism of true zero, absence of true zero. So only interval scales, nominal and uh, ordinal scales are used. And when interval scales are used, when data received is normally distributed, only then parametric inferential statistics should be employed. T-test, all these Z-score, all these tests should be useful, will be useful, should be employed. If the data is not normally distributed and data is gathered through ordinal scale or to nominal scale, then we should go for non-parametric statistics. But many researchers actually they don't know that, even they do not do the normality test of the data. There are so many ways of normality test of data nowadays: QQ plot, P plot, even kurtosis, skewness. So many things are there. So after gathering net data, even sometimes this is my experience. I will say here that after collection of data, even redundant data we have to remove. What do I mean by redundant data? Suppose the heights of students of one class is being measured, right? Then height can never be 1.2 centimeter of a child. But many a times you will observe that if you are asking 40 students to measure height, the heights measured by the 40 students for the same object are even different. Different, it's all right, but sometimes data is redundant. For example, weight of a person is 100 gram. Wrongly it has been written in place of kg gram, but then that data is to be redundant, is to be seen, redundant has to be removed, data is to be clear. That usually researchers they don't do, because if I'm taking average, even in science, even in math, whenever the concept of average is being taken, if something is going on increasing with time, then taking its average is of no mean, is of no use, right? For example, in science, even science experiments, in even in certain measuring scales, if I'm repeating the thing, the same thing is being measured again and again, but the reading is always in increasing trend. If I'm taking three readings, the second reading will be average. If I'm taking five readings, the third reading will be the average. So stability will not be there. So average is taken only when the readings are very close, and there are sometimes negative differences, sometimes positive differences. But we are not doing that. For the sake of taking average, average is being taken, and that is of no use actually. So objectives, so hypothesis, research questions, objectives should be clear, should provide us proper direction to move further. Right? Objectives define the goals and research seeks to achieve. Importance. What is the importance of these? These provides a clear focus for the study and directs the research methodology. Now, three questions for hypothesis are there. Hypothesis must be valid one. Should have strong reasons and theories on previous research findings supporting the hypothesis. It should be testable. It should be verifiable. So testability, if data can be collected and analyzed to test the hypothesis, that type of hypothesis must be there, and hypothesis must be relevant. यार इसमें लास्ट लाइन शेडो हो रही है, इसको हटाइए ना. So third is relevance, means hypothesis must address the problem being studied. Right? Then methodology. The what we can say, mitochondria of the cell, powerhouse, or heart of this body, like that. So methodology consists of steps which highlights procedure that will be followed to achieve objectives, and what are the issues, what are the aspects considered under methodology are study design. We have to design our entire study, meaning thereby whether this study will be descriptive or correlational, experimental, exploratory, mixed method, quantitative, qualitative, mixed method. So what type of study design is there? It is survey, it is historical, descriptive, correlational. Correlation means I have to study correlation between two variables. it is experimental, quasi experimental, true experimental, pre experimental, is it exploratory? So study design I should be very very clear, right? If I'm considering social science, if I'm not taking equivalent groups, my study cannot be experimental. If I'm taking equivalent groups, randomness is there, experimental study can be there. So what type of design my study will be, that I should know, right? And that should be very clear, because accordingly I will choose many things, I will select many things. Then population, so group of target of population and their relevant information. For example, if I'm taking ninth class students of Odisha, then population is ninth class students, all the students. But since I cannot go to each one, then I need to take a sample. But that sample should be truly representative of that population. That if there are so many sects, there are so many heterogeneities, then I should make subgroups in population having homogeneity. So I'll not go in detail, because I think some other person would have discussed all these things. So sample and sampling method is again very very important, and therefore we have to specify the sample size and method of selection. So basically, we take two methods: probability and non-probability sampling. Whether it is simple random sampling or stratified random sampling or lottery method or whatever. So where probability means randomness is there, non-probability means randomness is not there. Probability means randomness is there, non-probability means randomness is not there. So I can select sample by two ways: either having randomness in my selection, having not randomness in my selection. So so to ensure adequate representation, I have to have a sample, right? And then research instrument, right? So what should be the research instrument? Research instrument means, in science we have equipments. Here I construct a research instrument through which I will collect the data in social sciences. So tools for data collection. So there can be different types of tools depending on uh, the cognitive level of the stakeholders, on the requirement of the researcher. Tools, under tools I can have a questionnaire, can have an interview schedule, can have observation schedule, can have focus group discussion, opinier, rating scale. So there can be many types of research instruments. So which type of instruments will be good for my research design, that I have to know. Then I have to construct tool, or I have to adopt certain uh, standard tool, or I have to contextualize standard tool. So when I want to collect data, I can use a standard tool. Suppose tool developed by some American, I can contextualize it in Indian context, in my local context. I can use that, or even I can construct my own tool, and even I can use, or even researchers use different types of tool in the same research study, right? Focus group discussion for small children, interview schedule, observation, also direct, indirect. So different types of tools can be used for different stakeholders. Even more than one type of tools can be used for triangulation of data. So research instruments are that way important, because the research questions the objectives, what we want to address. Accordingly we will design items, questions, statements in these tools. So these tools will then be used in collecting data. We will administer these tools on the sample, and sample should be truly representative of the population, because we are going to generalize our outcome for the population. So unless the sample will be representing truly population, we cannot generalize our outcome for the population. So research instrument is to be developed. Now when we develop research instrument, many things uh, are to be kept in mind. When we I'm not going in detail, but still it is my duty. When I'm developing a questionnaire, the length of questionnaire, the number of questions in a questionnaire, the language of each question, it should not be ambiguous. Clearly it should be useful for the user, respondent should easily understand it, should be in very simple language, and there should not be any dichotomy or ambiguity. So what type of items, what type of questions, what type of statements we are developing in these tools, that is important. Length is important. on whom we are administering the respondents, the stakeholders, their level of understanding, comprehension. Suppose if I'm using on small children, on children of third, fourth class, then writing work should be minimum. Pictures can be used. So, what type of uh, clientele group is there? What type of stakeholders are there? I have to develop tool accordingly, and that tool should be standardized, because whatever I'm writing question, that question should be valid, should be reliable. So I think we all know that whatever, either I should use a standard tool, or I should contextualize a standard tool, or if I construct my own tool, then it should be standardized. Means it should be tested under validity, under reliability, under objectivity, usability, everything. So unless we standardize our tool, the collected data will not be very meaningful, useful, right? So standard tool is to be there for administration, for collecting data. Once when data is collected, right, and data can be of both types according to our requirement, quantitative or qualitative, and nowadays both ways are also being adopted. Mixed method system is also there, that quantitative data is also collected and qualitative data is also collected, and they are used in triangulation in supporting the outcome of the one type of data by the other, right? And the sources, right, sources are also important, whether we are taking data from the primary source or from the secondary source. So when data is collected, the size is also important. Data is to be cleaned. It is redundant data is to be removed, and then we should go for data analysis. So data analysis is important. Why? Because the raw data is not going to give us any outcome, or we are unable to make any inference out of the data unless it is analyzed, it is processed. So the data collected is cleaned, is made redundancy free, and then it is analyzed. So data analysis outlines the specific approach for processing data to devise meaningful insight. For example, statistical methods for quantitative data, thematic analysis for qualitative data, right? And when I'm taking data analysis, then now different packages are also used. Many times, even for some calculations, some type of computation, even MX Excel is useful, but otherwise SPSS, R square, R, many softwares are also there. So we can use those softwares for analyzing data. But for a young researcher, for a beginner, manual calculations are also very important. Otherwise, interpretation of the statistical outcome will be very difficult. Either one should know that how the outcome by machine, by computer, of the data of the software should be interpreted. Otherwise, interpretation becomes very difficult. So if one does the calculations manually, then develops insight that what type of interpretation the data will have. So we can use softwares, but then we should know that how that outcome is interpreted. So data analysis is important. Why? Because this data analysis will enable us to reach at the conclusion. So the importance of methodology is that this ensures the rigor and validity of the research process. So methodology, that's why I am saying it is the crux of the research, because it talks about everything, that what is your study design, what is your population, what type of sample design you should have, which should truly representative population. If you want to go for probability sampling, but population has different pockets having heterogeneity, then we can make subgroups having homogeneity. We can go even for stratified random sampling, different strata, and proportionate population you should have. So sample and sampling method is important. Sampling method should be bias free. Random means bias free. There should not be any bias. If I'm taking probability sampling, then research instrument, right? So instrument development is important. Its standardization is important. Standardization can be manifold, even it can be vetted by experts, even it can be piloted, even certain items can be dropped, even there can be item analysis, right? So if I'm developing an achievement test MCQ, even each item can be analyzed. I think we all know nowadays that earlier we were using CTT, classical testing theory, but nowadays item response theory is used. And even every item is piloted, and there is ICC, item characteristic curve, under IRT. So that characteristic curve, when it is done, that characteristic curve tells everything about that item. That in that item, what is the guessing chances, right? What is the discrimination index? What is the difficulty level? So there should be a balance in all these. So item characteristic curve enables us to retain item or to drop item, right? So item response theory is important. Item development is important. Item response theory is important. Item characteristic curve is important, right? Even whenever there is some question, piloting is important. So validity, reliability, I have discussed. Then data collection, right? In data, sometimes there is redundant data which is of no use, that we have to see manually and we can remove it, right? Even we can feed a program in computer and we can remove redundant data. Then data analysis. So when I come in data analysis, as far as social sciences are concerned, I can take an example of science also, right here, on the same scale, right? Many times people also think that in science there is a in social science statistics is used. In social science uh, only statistics is used. Science In science statistics is not used. This is not true. In science statistics is also used, right? When I want to talk, I want to tell anything about hydrogen atom or neutron or proton, I'm not going to test every proton or every neutron, right? Then why the neutron or proton which I have experimented upon is representing others? So I'm choosing, even in science, right? I think you know that proton is the most stable particle, but neutron is not stable particle. Neutron decays into a proton, an electron, and an antineutrino in 1,000 seconds, 16 minutes only. So if all the neutrons decay in 16 minutes, then why I should have neutrons after 16 minutes? But I'm having neutrons. So all neutrons are not decaying. So statistics is there. Only in millions, one neutron is decaying. Right? All the neutrons are not decaying simultaneously. Right? So that is called branching ratio. Right? So statistics is always there. Even when I study science, even there are two types of statistics. For classical mechanical concepts, the statistics which is known is Maxwell Boltzmann statistics. When I take quantum mechanical phenomenon, for example, how phonons are distributed in energy levels, then I take Bose-Einstein statistics. So statistics is there also. Whenever I am studying temperature of water, I'm taking is a grand ensemble. I'm not going to study every atom, every molecule. So I'm taking overall effect. So that is the statistics. Statistics is used both in science and social science. But different types of statistics are there. Similarly, when someone say that science is exact, it is again not true, right? Science is also not very exact, right? In science we have errors also, and that's why even in science textbooks in ninth and 10th class or 11th class, the first chapter is on errors. The first chapter is on errors. Even when we study the amount of resistance on a resistance code, then there is tolerance limit plus minus 10%. So I can say 0.10 level of significance, while in social science we are taking 0.05. So errors are there in science also. Errors are there in social science also. In social science, those errors we are describing in terms of normal distribution, right? If someone is fitting in normal distribution curve till 99%, then I say that significance at 0.01 level. If 95%, then I say level of significance is 0.05. So usually we take two levels of significance, though we can take 0.02, 0.95, 0.93, any level. But usually these two levels are used in social sciences, 0.01 and 0.05, while in science, plus minus percentage error is written. Many you would have seen, I don't know. So errors are there. Even precision of the instrument is limited. There is a limitation. For example, if I'm taking a usual scale to measure some length, I cannot measure below 1 millimeter or below 0.5 millimeter. At the most, if you have seen a scale, there will be 20 parts at the most in 1 centimeter. Means each part is of 0.5 mm, or usually there are 10 parts. One part is of 1 mm. So I cannot measure the length below 1 mm using that scale. So that is limitation, precisionness. But at the same time, if the same length is measured by one person again and again, there will be difference, some difference. And the same length is measured by many people by the same scale, for the same, but same objective is measured, same length is measured by the same scale, but by other people, by different people, then readings are different. So these are the errors. So that's why we need to take average. So you take all such readings and take average. That's why we predict. So prediction is not only in social science, estimation is not only in social science, this is equally true in science also. So data is always very, very important, both in science as well as in social science. And data analysis is also important. So data analysis, I think I am able to convince that what is its importance. Data analysis outlines the specific approach for processing data to derive meaningful insights, statistical methods for quantitative data, thematic analysis, right? So, and importance, as we have already highlighted, ensures the rigor and validity of the research process. Then scope and delimitations. So every study is bound by certain scope. If scope is not there, then study is irrelevant. So scope study defines the boundaries of the research, right? Meaning thereby, when I was saying that I'm taking Odisha, so I'm generalizing for Odisha. I cannot generalize that for India, that for the country. So that is scope my study in that topic, right? I was taking science textbooks, something practices and uh, before some time, right? That was for Odisha. So scope of studies Odisha defines the boundaries of the research, including the population, time frame, geographical area. So this is the scope of the study. I means my study is not going beyond this. So as precautions in generalizing the conclusions, this scope is used. It is used in describing circumstances that may have influenced or constrained the research. Example, due to selection of particular methodology, right? Even in science, when I use certain theories, the results are slightly or different. The results are different, right? So importance of the scope and delimitations is that it helps in maintaining a focused and manageable research study. Right? Delimitations acknowledges the limitations of the study, such as sample size, data availability, and methodology constraints. So again, importance of delimitation is it promotes transparency because it tells about the what are the limitations, what is the scope. So it talks about transparency, which is comes under ethics also, and relative expectations regarding the research findings. So even in scope, we can give enough scope of ethics also, right? Nowadays we talks about ethics and honesty in research, though now we are talking, but actually a good researcher should keep always in mind ethics and honesty. Whatever data I'm getting, I should report, removing redundant data. My inference may be contradictory to someone else. I should not worry about that, right? Because whatever I am doing, if I'm honestly doing, then what I'm establishing may be path breaking. I will give an example, right? I worked on a problem, and I'm talking about 2004, 2005. So there was a composition CuHFZrTi. This is a composition alloy, and I take 4 concentrations, right? And then I draw a vibrational dynamics curve using Fortran programming, and I interfaced this data with graphic package. So whatever result was coming through that, maybe that few of the audience may not be of that subject, so may not be interesting. But I developed a program, and I wanted to study vibrational dynamics. We say phonon dispersion. I draw a curve of those compositions using one model that is called force constant model. So that model I used, I developed. What I got, that I got for the all 4 compositions a wavy curve. The first peak height is different. At the first peak is different for different compositions, but after first peak, they all merge and become one. But they are wavy in wave form. So I was thinking that something I have done wrong, and I kept aside that my research paper, and I invested nearly 6 months in that. I wanted to send it in elsewhere publication, right? Later on, it published in MIT, Massachusetts Institute of Technology, Material Science and Engineering A. This is journal's name, right? So I kept it aside. Then one day, I met my teacher. I just discussed with him that I did 6 months rigorous labor, but I got this type of result, and I am thinking that this is wrong. Then he told me that how you think that you are wrong, you may not be wrong also. So since you have done this work, please you send this paper to a standard journal. So I sent that paper to Material Science and Engineering A, published by elsewhere. I'm talking about 2005. It is published by MIT Chicago, USA. So I sent that paper to there. After few days, because that time uh, network was there, internet was there with me even. So after few days, I got referee's comment that the author, I think the author is unaware by his research findings. For his research findings are in good agreement with the research work done by DB Miracle. You can see on web on internet. DB Miracle is scientist in NASA USA. He has done the same type of work. He has got the same type of outcome, and the researcher has also strengthened that outcome, supported that outcome using different theory. My theory was different. His theory was dense random hard sphere packing, while my theory was force constant model, but outcome was same. So I got referees comments that the outcome is very motivating, and we request author to give theory in full detail, and the paper is worth publishing without any change. So you can see that I was just in depression, because 6 months I worked for 5 hours 6 hours daily, because those days working on photon, it was difficult. Nowadays we have DOS, we have Windows Photon. That time I was having DOS Photon. So if once some mistake is there, I had to go back from the beginning. There were no Windows that time for Photon, right? So tedious calculation I did. I plotted those curve, and then I was under depression. But when I sent this paper, I got this type of comment. My paper was welcomed and published. And after that paper, I worked more on the same issue and could publish 3 4 more papers, single authored elsewhere papers that time. So that's why I'm saying that sometimes we see that many researchers are getting one type of conclusion. Your conclusion is different from them. Please don't hesitate. If your way of doing, if your means are good, then ends will definitely be enlightening. So if means are good, your way of doing is good, you just have assessed that you are not committing any mistake, you are honest in doing work, then don't think that your finding is contradictory. It will be even path breaking. So please keep trust on yourself. So this is the what I wanted to tell in between. So expected implications are therefore important, and discuss the potential implications, means after finding out the conclusion, inferences, how these inferences are going to be used, are going to affect the policies, the documents, the material. When I talk about education, teaching, learning material, so discusses the potential implications of research findings, both theoretical and practical. And importance of this is that it anticipates the broader impact of the study and its potential applications. So budget part is very important whenever we plan a research proposal. So item wise breakdown must be there. This is very small print. I think it is not visible for you, but in budget item, we should divide our budget in heads, and head wise budget we should give, and it should be very clear. For example, I have given here how many personals I have to engage. So stipend expenses for subcontractual foreign interviewers, for course release for uh, principal investigator, summer stipend, right? Support, GRA support for 3 semesters. So some budget is there in terms of dollars. Similarly, we can have in terms of rupees. Then total personal expenses, expenses on resource, human resource, right? Then direct expenses, transcription of interview, tapes, 160 reviews at the rate of approximately 90 per interview, like that. So this type of budget we have to formulate. Can have personals, equipments, direct expenses, travel, right? Nowadays, when we get fellowship from UGC or CSR, we get contingency also. That contingency covers our travel expenses. If we are going to present our research contribution, research outcomes in conferences also, then even registration fee also. We can go for collecting data also. We can go for surveying literature also in different institutes. We can even subscribe certain material also. So that budget we have to give uh, clearly. In even sometimes equipments we can procure, even computational machine we can procure, even softwares we can procure. So that budget we have to give in our budget proposal very clearly, because many times it happens that the funding agency uh, filters those items. Some items are allowed by that funding agency, sometimes some items are not allowed. So those which are not allowed, that funding agency cuts that budget. But it happens only when budget demarcation separation is very clear headwise. So budget must be there, right? Similarly, timeline should also be given. The timeline is actually for self-regulation also, right? For example, in first 2 months, what I'll do, in next 2 months, what I'll do, in next 2 months, what I'll do. Topic selection will take 1 month for me, or will take 9 months. Literature review, how many months, how many days. Then by what time first draft will be there, proposal presentation, right? Then proposal is finalized, then data collection, then data entry and analysis, report writing, project report submission. So we should make the certain heads, and accordingly we should define our budget, as well as we should define our timeline, and we should stick to the timeline also. So then bibliography is to be given. So detailed references of the secondary data that have been referred in research work following a specific format writing, for example, American Psychological Association, etc. So detailed bibliography we have also to give for everyone's use. And its importance will be that it will maintain intellectual honesty. Otherwise, people will not rely on that. And accredit study with correct sources. So example is given here. Then appendices are there, because sometimes whatever tool you have used, suppose someone wants to use your tool, then that tool you can supply in appendix. That tool will be very meaningful for other researchers. So appendix may include supplementary materials that are tools detailed, lengthy, or tangential to include in the main body of the text. Some we need to, or we avoid the inclusion of this type of material in main body, main text. So that's why we put in appendix. For example, raw data, detailed calculations, even calculational theory, computational methods, even supporting documents, tools of data collection, maps and photographs, interview protocols, etc. And its importance is that this will provide comprehensive and transparent documentation of the research that can enhance the reader's understanding of the research. So researcher will understanding everything clearly, as well as that researcher will also report her outcome, her research on the same line. So this will be guiding for researcher also. So then the last slide, that evaluation parameters, because proposal should be evaluated before submission or before execution. So what are the evaluation parameters? The every research proposal should have a scientific merit. Means research questions should be very clear. Methodology should be rigorous, should be clear. Then there should be theoretical foundation, means what others have done, what are the existing theories, what are the research gaps. Then feasibility, means time frame, resource availability, practical constraints, right? Those constraints are there. I cannot overcome those constraints. I have to consider those constraints. Then originality, because nowadays even even in thesis, this type of certificate we have to attach that our research work is novel and original. So originality is to be there, because unless original outcome, original research is there, it is of no use. I think nowadays people believe in number of publications. Number of publications are not important. quality of publications is important. Many times I highlight, again I'm highlighting, that I think we all know Albert Einstein, who is very famous, who is known as father of science till today even, and he published only 5 papers. Many times people say that science is based on experiments. There are certain myths also. Science is not always based on experiments. Einstein has not any published any paper on based on experiments, but he has published papers which are on sound theoretical logics. I think you also know Newton. Newton also never performed any experiment. Newton gave just theoretical formulation. Even Bohr, even Galileo, right? So, but those theories are based on logical thinking, on rational thinking, on certain observations, right? So, and Einstein published 5 papers. I think you know that he has published paper on Brownian motion, random motion. Do you know that? I think you not, right? So Brownian motion, random motion. For example, in a gas, atoms are moving, are colliding with each other randomly. Those are moving. So random motion, Brownian motion, right? Second paper is on special theory of relativity. Then one paper is on photoelectric effect. Then one paper is on general theory of relativity. He got Nobel Prize on photoelectric effect. But his every paper was worth getting Nobel Prize. So every paper has lot of readership, and many these people have conducted research on each paper. So that type of quality papers should be there. So novel approach must be there, and unexplored areas should be considered, should be addressed. What is happening that in I'm giving again an example. If one has done something on sodium, the next one is going to doing work on magnesium. The third one is going work on aluminium. Sodium's atomic number is 11, magnesium's atomic number is 12, aluminium 13, silicon 14, phosphorus 15. So what they are doing, one has done on sodium, the other one will come and do on magnesium, the third one will come and do on aluminium. So that is just repetition of work, right? So there is no novelty in that work. So we should address unexplored areas, and we should uh, these evaluation parameters should be able to give potential integration for innovation also, and the outcome of the proposal should have potential impact. It should contribute to knowledge, it should contribute to society, or it should have wider practical applications. So on these parameters, every program proposal is to be evaluated. So program proposal is evaluated as far as academic part is concerned, budgetary part is concerned, time part is concerned, and the potential impact, originality, or outcome part is concerned. So this way the proposals are framed, and along since now time is not there, otherwise I have 2 3 proposals with me, one of physics, one of education, and in formats of ICSR, UGC, DST. So if you go through even the proposals, the research proposal formats of different funding agencies, ICSSR, DST, Department of Science and Technology, INSA, Indian National Science Academy, UGC, though now UGC has not is not giving projects. Earlier, UGC was giving major as well as minor projects. DAE, Department of Atomic Energy, right? Language Department, Tribal Department, ERIC project. These projects, they have these funding agencies. They have their format. Even their format, they are writing everything. For example, if I take CSI project, then in UGC project, then they are giving that what how you have to write introduction and objective, right? What is the nature of assistance? They have given a full format after that. Who is applicable, then how you have to write. They have given this, so guidelines are there. So we should use those guidelines in development of a research proposal. That research proposal even can be discussed among our colleagues, co-workers, and sometimes we think that juniors they have less knowledge, but it is not true. Even if you want to integrate statistical analysis, then we can show our proposal to a technocrat who is compatible, who is using the technology, what type of technology I want to use. So in this manner the proposal can be formulated, can get finalized, and this proposal maybe submitted to funding agencies. Sometimes if I'm conducting a action research and action research, then even funds are not required. But still I need a proposal to just have a guiding path, that how I have to start, where I have to reach, what type of impact I can have of the outcome. So with these words, I think I have justified the work I have been assigned. And again, I'm sorry that there was some valedictory program on Fridays. We have valedictory programs. We conduct, our institute conduct 5 days training programs, capacity building programs. So initially, 4-5 minutes I delayed, but you listened me patiently, and I could describe here what I know. So thank you so much for being with me. And now, if time allows, then we can have certain interaction also, if possible. So thank you. Thanks from my side.
Thanks a lot, sir, for the wonderful session, and definitely it is very insightful for all the participants. And now Shashikala ma'am wants to ask a question. She has raised her. Yes, ma'am.
Good evening, sir. Good evening, ma'am. Such a nice and again a briefing session related to research methodology, and that has given focused on the part and revised all those things. Though we have that knowledge that we have to do budgeting part, we have to do data collection, all. But whenever we get such sessions where we can brush up our knowledge, it is always a fruitful session for all the participants, sir. So thank you for this particular guidance, sir. So my question is that is not a question; it's just a I want to know that is there any list of the something available where we can find the funding agency list of the funding agencies, those who promote this research work and all, because every time we are going to the ICSR site and the 2 or 3 sites we visit, but if at all there is some list related to that, sir, can you guide us?
It depends on area of research, madam. For science, actually, I know. For science, DST, INSA, CSIR, DAE, these are the institutes. But for social science, I think ICSSR, and for education purpose, even NCERT, even I think TIMS, TFR. So actually, I have to explore. I don't know any site where this list you can find.
Okay, thank you so much, sir. Thank you.
Thank you. So thank you so much.
Jyoti ma'am.
Good evening, sir. Thank you so much for a wonderful session. I just want to know about the that proposal. While writing an international projects proposal for scholarship or other projects, so is there important to write bibliography in the proposal or not?
Yes, madam. It is. We should write.
We should write.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Reference is more important, but sometimes we use certain texts, certain books without citing them.
We should write. I have applied
So
for
reference is better actually,
uh,
but reference is to be cited within text.
within text, like footnote.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes, Kriti ma'am, you can ask your question.
Very good evening, sir and ma'am. Thank you so much, sir, for wonderful session. Sir, my question is कि if we do not, matlab you mentioned the relevance of review of literature in your slides. Sir, what if some topic is there on which much previous research is not there? Then how to go about it?
Then how that topic came in your mind?
Sir, actually, we did a pilot research on that, and we found good results on that, and
No,
we
it's
now
good.
want to extend that.
But there should be some basis, na? There will be some basis. Maybe that references are very less literature is available. That may be that is
Yes, sir.
possible.
Yes, sir. Only 1-2 papers are there.
Sufficient. Then you can go for cross reference. If I have one base paper, for example, I did my work on some force constant model. I was saying you that paper is published from Canada. I was not finding more references or more papers on that. Then I went cross reference of that paper. In that paper, there are references are given.
Yes, sir.
I used those references which were relevant to me, because since that is my base paper, so every reference was useful for me, which is given in that reference.
Is there any matlab minimum number of papers that
It
we
is not
must
like that.
mention during?
No, it is not like that. It
Okay,
depends
thank
on
you.
the area. On one in
Yes,
one
yes.
topic, you may find thousands of papers. But if some innovative research area you are undertaking, then you will find very less papers.
Okay, sir. Thank you so much.
But those papers should be very supportive papers.
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Next question from Apala ma'am.
Yes, sir. Good afternoon, sir. Good evening. I just want to know something, sir. There are two schools of thought. One which says that first we should have a research question in mind, and then to answer that research question, we should set our objectives. And the other school of thought says that first we should have some objectives set, and then we should be able to say that which questions or how these objectives would actually answer the questions that we have. So which one do you think, sir, is more appropriate?
In
Should
my
we first
opinion,
think
if
of
I'm
a
yes,
yes
please.
yes sir, no, you go ahead, sir, that's the question.
In my opinion, firstly, I should have research questions in my mind.
Okay.
Yes, because I
And
want
then
to address those. Now, then accordingly, I will formulate objectives.
objectives. Okay, right. That's all, sir.
Okay, so I think, sir, no more questions from the participants. And again, thanks a lot for sparing your valuable time for the session, sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you to all the
Thank you.
participants for joining. Okay, sir. We'll meet soon. Thank you. Namaste.
Thank you so much.